Good tidings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Landy Lodge podcast. Before we launch this episode, we have some special people we need to thank, those special people being the sages of the lodge, those who donate monthly to keep the lodge moving. If you'd like to become a sage of the lodge by donating as little as $1 a month, you can find a link in the episode description, be it whether it's on YouTube or any of the audio platforms. So, thank you to everybody, thank you to the Sages of the Lodge, and thank you for tuning in. And without further ado, let's get on with it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Landy Lodge, where today a return is made by none other than one of the original Sages of the Lodge, an OG, David Freese. David, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm pretty good.
That's what I like to hear, man. Well, listen, when we started phase 2 of the lodge, you were one of the first podcasts, and the title of that podcast was "Can Pokemon Make a Comeback?" And essentially, the premise of this was we were just coming off Sword and Shield. They announced their DLC that looked good, but none of us really had much faith. We were hopeful, but not very faithful.
Right.
A lot's changed for Pokemon since July of 2020. So I want your take. I'd go so far as to say you're a super fan. I see the plushies in the back. You, my friend, you know your stuff. I've known you a long time. You know your stuff. I'm curious as to your take. Are we witnessing what may be the beginning of Pokemon's comeback?
I certainly hope so. And Ar Arceus or Arceus, I think it is, right? We established it's Arceus.
Whatever
Um,
floats your boat here at the lodge. Whatever floats your boat.
so I honestly think that Legends looks really cool. It has a lot of promise, but there's a lot of things they need to do to it before they release it for it to be what I want it to be.
So let's start there because I know you and I, for the most part, we agree on Legends. We agree
Yes.
that this is the right direction for the series. It
Hmm.
is refreshing to see a company that used to recycle the same formula over and over say, you know what? We hear you. We're mixing it up. This
Right.
seems to not just be a new direction for the series, but it seems to be the new direction for the series. Um, I think it's cool to see. Look, we never needed the best graphics from Pokemon, but what
No.
we are asking for is for things to be up to speed. You know, it doesn't need to
Right.
look realistic, but can you make it look beautiful? People love
Right.
looking at beautiful things, video games especially. And
Exactly.
it looks like, at the very least, when it comes to Legends art style and the landscapes that we've seen, it looks like they're going to make this game look good. What would you say?
I look, I to me it looks the actual places like in the trailer they're when the characters rolling up through the wild like areas and they're really traversing.
Hmm.
I honestly it looks really cool. And I think visually it's sort of the direction that we were kind of looking for.
And I think one of the things that stands out to me is it looks like the Pokemon are actually moving like animals and moving more
Hmm.
naturally and not just like popping up and just like walking forward.
Right.
I'm
And
just going to
then
walk
maybe
that way
running up to you and then
and walk
stopping.
this way. Yeah, exactly. It looks like there's a little bit of method to their madness, which is another step. It makes it the game more immersive, which is
Right.
what we're looking for with Pokemon.
My issue with that,
Ooh,
though, remember in that trailer when she throws the prototype Pokeball at the Shinx, how the
yes.
other Shinx just kind of stands there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would want the other Shinx to like notice at least that whatever is happening behind them.
Hmm.
But again, this is all stuff this year is at least this game is at least a year away. I
Well,
don't see
what
it.
did you not see in the trailer that you think they need to do to this game?
Um, I they need to. Well, we really don't have any idea about the story. That's one thing that like. So I can't say anything story wise, but in terms of what they could fix is maybe the town looks so barren. And that's one of my issues with some of the newer Pokemon games too. The world, the towns and the cities don't quite feel lived in. You know what I mean? And that
Yeah.
was okay for, when you're dealing with like the Game Boy or the DS where like you can't really do much there. But in terms of the Switch, you could really make that town feel like an older Japanese town, or like where you have a bunch of people coming in from different places. It's like a commerce center.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I'll say this much. You're right that like when it comes to the plot, we haven't really been led into the plot. But what I
Nothing.
do like is that there's a lot of lore to kind of
Hmm.
chew on here. The fact that this is like before the idea of Pokemon trainers ever really existed.
Exactly.
This was your way of interacting with the world. You're essentially you're a researcher. You're a trailblazer in the
Right.
world of
You're making the Sinnoh's first Pokédex, which is
exactly. So like
awesome.
that lore alone makes me go, oh, so this is going to be a different experience altogether. It's not about we're not being Ash Ketchum. We're not
No.
trying to beat Red at the end.
Right. We're
This is
not
a
we're not
different
doing the
experience.
badges. We're not doing the island trials. We're not doing that
Mhm.
shit. Which
So how do you
I'm
feel about that?
I'm so excited for. And I
So
think at the sorry,
go ahead.
go
Go.
ahead.
No, no, no. You go. You go. You go.
My I think to me the whole gym thing came to its proper end with Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield's main story was about that gym challenge. Now it's time to like step away from that kind of thing, which it seems like it doesn't look like there's going to be any gyms in Arceus or anything like that.
Hmm.
Um, I'm very looking forward to this new direction. I'm so sick of go to the next town, get a badge, go to the next town, get a badge, go to the next town, get a badge.
Well, what I like about this, I think what's going to make this better, because you're right. There's, how do you put it? Too much order, not enough chaos,
Right.
right? And it seems like that's kind of the objective here. It's like we're gonna cut the leash a little bit. We're gonna introduce a little bit of chaos to the formula. Because what it seems to me is because like you're still gonna battle your Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Like you're gonna use your Pokemon to battle wild Pokemon. Now I don't know for sure. Maybe you can confirm. Um, but I'm willing to bet you're probably going to have some trainer battles. Like there won't be like league
I would hope
official
so.
with stuff like that. It won't be league official and it won't be in the name of Pokemon leagues or gyms like you say, but you might run into a fucking asshole who's robbing a bank with his Pokemon
Oh yeah.
or robbing a town
Something.
and you
Right.
got to use your Pokemon to fight that off so you can save the town or something. And I like this so much more because now it's almost like instead of having to bend the world around Pokemon, Pokemon's now bending around the world.
Right.
And because it's like you're right, that order that was established, the gyms, the badges, the league, the whole thing was like this paved path for you. And now it's like, no, you're just gonna be paving the way, taking notes, being a researcher, and you're going to encounter real world danger. And you'll
Right.
have to use your Pokemon as allies in this real world danger. Speaking of which, we haven't even talked about the most important thing. Who are you picking? Who's your starter Pokemon? Because for
Oh,
those who don't know, they gave you a great selection of Rowlet,
yeah.
Cyndaquil, and Oshawott. Three fan
Hmm.
favorites. Who are you picking?
It's so hard. It's so hard.
It's easy
I,
for me.
I'm not taking Oshawott, but and I want to use Rowlet so bad because I never really used him in any of my Alola playthroughs.
Okay.
So I really want to pick Rowlet, but Cyndaquil holds such a special place
You love
to me.
Cyndaquil. You
I
love Cyndaquil.
do. He was when I was a kid. I played blue initially as a kid, but when the first game that I really comprehended playing in that franchise was
Mhm.
Gold and Silver, and I remember in after beating Whitney, I remember I didn't know about the Wilmer pail, or not Wilmer pail, the Squirtle thing, the pail
Mhm.
to get rid of the pseudo Wudo that was in the way. And I remember getting my my Cyndaquil to evolve all the way before the fourth badge. It was level 40
Yo.
because I just had no idea what to do. So I have a special bond with Cyndaquil and Typhlosion.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm probably gonna go that way, even though I really want to pick Rowlet.
Well, dude, I'm picking
How
Rowlet.
about you?
I love.
Yeah,
I'm
I had a
with.
feeling. I had a feeling.
You know, I have a soft spot for the grass types. And look, don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, I love Cyndaquil. In my gold and silver playthrough, my first playthrough, I picked Totodile, but I remember picking Cyndaquil, and by the time we got to a Typhlosion, I was like, this is it.
Right.
This
He's
is
got
it.
fire out of his back.
Yes. But I felt that Rowlet was too good for Sun and Moon.
Oh
And
yeah.
now I can have the adventure with him that we deserve. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited to pick Rowlet.
I do not blame you. I don't think anyone is going to be Oshawott Gang for this one. I
Who
don't think
knows?
so.
Oshawott has a cult following. I think there's a lot of people who got love for Oshawott.
Duat's cool, but Samurott, I feel like
Eh, I'm with you too. How do you feel about these Pokeball designs where it's like a Coke can,
I would
Popping a
love
can of Coke.
to see her just like and throw it. Like that's awesome.
It's cool. No,
So cool.
it looks so old school. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's like this is something I could have seen like Wild West era.
Exactly.
Like something built in the Wild West era. It's cool to see
Um,
like the tech. It just looks like old
mhm,
tech. I don't know. I just love
exactly.
it. I think
And
it's
now I
cool.
want to now speaking of the old tech, how do you think this Pokédex is going to work? Do you think she's going to just write it down, or he or she is going to just write the Pokemon stuff down? And what do you think?
Here's what I think. If I were to guess, right? I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna think in all the big towns, there's gonna be like a library. And like there's scribes,
Mm,
there's people who are like professional scribes, and so as like you take these notes and get them to the professor, part of the professor's job is to get those notes and research out to everyone else. And there's like professional scribes, there's a network of people dedicated to getting this research around. So I'm thinking that the towns might just be hubs of information, and they'll find some way to write in that towns will always be caught up with your
hmm.
notes. So that's
That
what I would guess.
that's cool. I like
Yeah.
that. Another question would be, where are you going to put all your Pokemon? If you can, if they're going to make it so that you can only have 6 on your team, which we don't even know. We don't even know
We
that
don't
that's going to
know.
be a.
We don't know.
So you're going to be able to access all of your Pokemon in your bags, or like it's.
Maybe there's a new here's and this is why it's like we got to see more because maybe and at the danger of getting our hopes too high, at that risk, imagine there was a true RPG element to your avatar. And that as you level up your avatar, the more Pokemon you could have out with you. And maybe that maxes out at
Mm,
3, maybe it even maxes out at 2. But I'm saying maybe you can incorporate these things where doing certain things as a trainer, and this is something that can incentivize side quests, that doing certain things as a trainer give you like more
more
privileges in
skill.
the
Yeah,
open world, you know?
that's cool.
That
So
that's what I would think.
how do you think this story will progress? I have one kind of theory, but where do you think like
I think where this story
the
goes is like
bulk
you
of it?
think. I think the twist. I'll predict the twist. Here's my prediction. The story will position itself as this coming of age tale, right? That like it's the dawn of a new age. This is the beginning of an era when really you're in a post-apocalypse. I feel like that's what
Ooh.
Arceus or Arceus is going to be all about, right? Because this Pokemon is essentially God. This is what created the world. Do I have
Right.
that lore correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So I
He
think what
has
you're
1,000 arms.
yes, right. And I think what you're going to learn is that maybe something went wrong with the previous civilization. So Arceus kind of hit the reset button on technology and research or something. Just some kind of twist
That's
like
cool.
this, where the story goes from feeling like you're in the beginning times to being like, oh no, this is the rebuild, which would be like, in a way, sort of the meta narrative of the Pokemon narrative itself.
Hmm.
You know, that Arceus came and wiped away the old way and you had to rebuild. We're, in a sense, right? Like
That's exactly what we're doing.
we're
Right.
rebuilding the fucking Pokemon world from scratch. Like we're going backwards to the beginning. Like, I don't know. And listen, Japan seemingly is obsessed with fourth wall narratives these days. I don't want to say obsessed, but the trope is alive and well. Let's put it that way. So I wouldn't be surprised if they sort of found a way to play into it that, like, hey, this is what we as the fans wanted, and now our avatars are kind of, we almost doomed them with the task of
Mhm.
having to rebuild all of this, you know?
That's cool.
But
That's freaking awesome. That would be like a whole meta thing. That's so
at the
cool.
risk of getting our expectations,
Right.
let's just so let's leave it at that. We love what we've seen from Legends. It looks great no matter what the fuck the plot is or what this all turns out to be. It all looks great. We're both excited. We both agree on that. Let's move into a little bit more unknown territory. Let's talk about Pokemon Snap. That's around the corner, dude.
It's coming out in
Few
like
weeks
what?
away.
Right. Holy
Thoughts
cow.
on that? Thoughts on that?
Okay. So when I was younger, I didn't actually have Pokemon Snap. I never bought it, but anytime I would go to Blockbuster, you know the game I was fucking picking out. So I would play as much of it as I could from Blockbuster, and then I would have to return it. And so I never beat the game. So I'm excited to actually beat a Pokemon Snap game.
Dude, wait, so you never got to the end of OG
No,
Snap?
no,
Can I spoil the end of OG
of
Snap for you?
course.
Okay, cool. Cool. So, spoiler alert, in case anyone's trying not to get spoiled on a 20-year-old game.
Right.
So, the ending, you actually get given the task of photographing Mew. Like, because and it's almost like
Shit.
you were gifted this task. You were this chosen one to commute, to take pictures of Mew and bring it back to your civilization.
I like that.
Yeah, so, and a lot of people seem to think that the professor in this game was the main character Todd from the N64 game, because they do
That would
look
be really
alike.
cool.
They look alike.
I
I
did
can
not
say
look at
that.
that. I
Yeah.
didn't see that. That's pretty cool.
But you know what, dude? This game is a perfect example, especially since we've seen a more polished version of it,
Oh
that
yeah.
we don't need the best graphics. Just make it look beautiful. Just
Exactly.
make it look it could be cartoony, it could be
Right.
cheesy.
I don't need it to look like I'm actually in there, you know? Like
Right. We don't need Detective Pikachu level textures.
we don't need VR freaking Pokemon.
No. This is all we needed. Crisp, smooth, high definition, high resolution. The Pokemon look great. It's funny that
Oh yeah.
it's funny that this is like the first good looking 3D Pokemon game, because it's
Right.
literally one about taking pictures.
And
So it's
the
all visually
Pokemon
based
feel
anyway.
oh yes, and they feel like they're actually living in those environments. That shot in the trailer where Venusaur jumps into the water. It look
Yes.
like
It looks
it's like
sick. It looks
it
sick.
looks lived in. You know what I mean?
Organic even.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh god.
Like you could go on like a safari type thing and see these kind of animals, and they're like they're hanging with each other, doing their own
Yeah, they're
thing.
in
Like
herds, they're in packs,
right.
they're doing certain tasks. It's them in their own element, you know. And like I kind of like that, because this is what's funny, right? Because Pokemon in its heyday was doing things like this. Pokemon in its heyday was making spin-off games like Pokemon Snap that were changing the way you experience the Pokemon world. They were dropping Pokemon trading card game, you know, things that mixed up the formula a little bit. This is what they were
Up
doing in their heyday.
up until like Gen 5, that's what they were doing. What else did they do? They did Pokemon Ranger, Mystery Dungeon,
There have been loads of
Coliseum,
spin-offs, and some of them have been
XD.
great.
Right.
Some of them have been
Exactly.
great. Yeah.
What happened to all of those? Like,
I think, and this is something we've touched on in earlier podcasts, I think what really, really took Game Freak for a spin was they saw the failure of the Wii U and they thought Nintendo was going all mobile and they wanted to double down on mobile gaming.
mhm,
And they, you know what I'm saying? It's like they thought Nintendo was going to do the opposite of what they did. Because
right.
Nintendo, in some regards, abandoned handheld. Because
Yeah.
Switch is a handheld, but it's not a Game Boy. It's
No.
not a DS. This is the top of their tech. It's a console handheld hybrid, but at the end of the day, it is
It's a
still a
console.
console, you know? So Game Freak didn't see that coming and they didn't plan for that.
Right.
I think that's what happened. That's why you saw a weird bump in development, and that's why Sword and Shield, as much fun as I had with it, as someone who I liked Sword and Shield better than Sun and Moon, but as much
I
fun
would
as
say
I might
so.
have had with it, it's like, come on, guys. The Switch, it may not be the most advanced piece of tech, but it's capable of some incredible things. You know, I've played Breath of the Wild. I've played
Right.
Fire Emblem Three Houses. I've seen what this thing could do. And now it finally seems like they're starting to take the tech seriously.
Which, thank God they are. But like
Right.
now, are we thinking because the Switch has to be not at the end of its lifespan, but it's got to be
It's close.
nearing it.
It's close. It's closer than I think a lot of people think.
Right. So now they're developing this new stuff for the Switch. Is there going to be another holdup for whatever's next?
Not necessarily, because it's not the same jump, right? Making a jump from a mobile phone to a console is a bit of a jump.
Right. You're
But you
more of the
bring up a good
tech
point.
side than I am.
You bring up a good point that, this game's coming out in 2022. I would put my money on that there's a new Switch in 2022.
Oh yeah, there's going to be like the
So
Switch enhanced or whatever.
honestly, like, let's call it the Switch Pro, just, for reference sake.
Right.
It's possible Legends is a Switch Pro game. And don't get me wrong, Nintendo will be smart. I think they'll make the Switch Pro in a way, just like how the Wii could play GameCube games. I think the Switch Pro will be able to play Switch games just fine. So I think it's possible you see Nintendo release a Switch Pro version of Legends and a Switch version of Legends, that there's a backwards compatible. You saw them do this with Breath of the Wild when it launched. There was a Switch version and a Wii U,
And the Wii U
version. I think it's very possible, at the risk of getting everyone's expectations too high. I think it's possible you see a Switch Pro version of Legends. I think it's
That
possible.
would be cool. That would be really cool, and I would love to see the kind of things they could do with even more updated system.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. So now my other question for you, because I have my own theories too.
Okay.
Do you think, what do you think about the possibility of a Gen 9? Because I don't think we're going to see Gen 9 for a long time. I don't think they're developing new Pokemon at all. I think they're going to stick to this Legends kind of thing, release a few of those, because it seems like a series type of name, Legends whatever. I don't want any more new Pokemon. I want them to do this kind of thing.
This is a good question. At the risk of getting everyone's expectations too high.
That should be the name of this episode.
You might be right. We'll see. We'll discuss it in the post roll, but that's a good candidate. If Legend slaps and it's everything, if it's half what we imagine it to be, I'm on your side. I'm not interested in a Gen 9 Give me more of this. If this is better, if I play this and I go, that was better than Sword and Shield, I'll be with you. Do more of this. Give me a Legends Cerebi. Give me the Legends
Right.
Mewtwo. Give me the Legends Lugia. Give me, just keep going. It's fine. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Legends Kyurem. Did you ever play Gen 5?
Did not play
Where
Gen
there was
5.
the original dragon and it split into the 3 dragons?
Did not play Gen 5. But there you
Gen
go.
5's really good.
And that's the thing. The reason why this is cool is because it's a chance for people like me who may have skipped over those generations to get immersed into their lore, into their Pokemon, into their mythologies. It's a really smart idea what they're doing. Conceptually, Legends is a great idea. I'll say this. I think you'll eventually see a Gen 9. I think
I
you
think
will.
so too.
I think you'll eventually see a Gen 9.
But my hope is for a long time. I want to let it breathe. Remember how back in the day you would have what? I think between gold and silver and ruby and sapphire, it was like 4 or 5 years.
We're going to look
Something
it
like
up.
that. Look
We're
it
going to
up
look
right
it up.
now. And that built your anticipation up more, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
The more
All
you
right.
wait, the more you want it.
So Pokemon Gold and Silver dropped November 21st, 1999 in Japan. Let's look up Ruby and Sapphire. Let's check it out. Okay. November 21st, 2002. 3 years. And that is a great point. That is such a fucking great point you made. Because I remember, I'm old enough to remember, taking the jump from Gold and Silver, which was a game like, and I'm sure you're like this because you said, at the beginning of the episode, you have vivid memories of this time. Gold and Silver was mind blowing. After beating Johto, there was already a better version of Kanto. They were like, oh, yeah, look, there's Kanto. Go have the Kanto journey. Best post game ever.
Yeah.
Maybe not ever, but deserves to be in the conversation.
For me, at least.
Deserves to be in the conversation.
And a lot of the fan base is now going back on that and being like, well, there's really nothing to do in Kanto. I tell those people, shut the fuck up. You get to see the advancement of all the characters from the last one. When you're saying there's nothing to do in
Dude,
Kanto,
even without that, you got the slots, you got the Safari Zone, dude. Like, come on. Like, I know there's not a lot, it's an old game, so there's not a crazy amount of things to do, period. But get out of here. All the caves, all the Pokemon, get out of here. I'm not about that. But I will say this. When you saw that jump from Gold and Silver to Ruby and Sapphire, it felt like the world was changing.
Yeah.
You played Ruby and Sapphire and you saw those beautiful, vibrant colors on the Game Boy Advance. Because this is, again, an example of them using the latest tech to their advantage. The opposite of what Sword and Shield did, the seemingly conceptual idea behind Legends. But anyway, you booted up Ruby and Sapphire and you saw those move animations and the beautiful sprites and the running shoes and this quality of life upgrades, the hideouts, you felt it. You felt like
it felt like you were going to a whole new world.
Correct.
And then the jump from Ruby and Sapphire to even Gen 4. How many that was? So you said it was 2002?
You want me to check Gen 4 for you?
Gen 4, I know, was 2006. It was released in Japan. That's 4 years.
We're going to fact check you in real time, brother.
Go ahead.
I hope you're ready for this. September 28th, 2006. David Freese, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Gen 4 is my favorite, so I gotta.
Whoa! Whoa! We are running up on time, so it's about time we got to this. So I've enjoyed talking to you about the things I agree with you on. But it's time that we give some space for what we disagree on. And I want to give you the mic to say your piece because we talked a little bit in the pre-roll. I respect where you're coming from. I think people who share your opinion have a legitimate grievance, but I'll save my personal feelings and why I personally am perfectly cool with this remake. But you, sir, the floor is yours.
All right, first, I really would like you to stop calling it a remake because it ain't no fucking remake. It's a fucking glorified remaster of the fucking game. All right? The
I
the
want to
characters.
pause you. I want to pause you.
Go ahead.
I want to pause you because I think pointing out culture is very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, I think these are the ripple effects of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think these are the ripple effects of Resident Evil 2 Remake. I think these are the ripple effects. Maybe not even. I wouldn't even put as good as Resident Evil 2 Remake was. Just take 7 Remake.
Even
you, my friend, I think you looked over at the Resident Evil and 7 Remake and you were like, whoa, now that's a remake. And Diamond and Pearl remakes were hyped up forever. And I can understand looking over at these other fandoms and seeing what they're getting. And then you finally like the Diamond and Pearl remakes are coming. And then you get hit with this chibi art.
Wah.
I
could not. I was skiing with my boyfriend and our friends Gomez and Rachel, and we were on the bunny hill, and every time I was going up the little like magic carpet to pull me up, I pulled it out and I was watching the direct, and it got to that part and I was so excited, and then I was so immediately let down.
What did you think it was going to be? That's my question. What did you think it was going to be?
Honestly, I thought it was just going to be more in the short sword and shield style. That's sort of where I was going with it.
Fair.
Because think about it, with any of the past remakes, they've done it basically in the style of the gen they're in. If you're talking about Fire Red, Leaf Green, it was very much similar to Ruby and Sapphire. Gold and Heart Gold, Gold Silver, very similar to Diamond and Pearl. This is a good
point. No, you're making a good point.
Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, very similar to X and Y. I don't know why they would want to go backwards. And I'm not even just talking about like the Final Fantasy remakes. You can even go back to like Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories. All right, that's another remake.
That's a quality remake,
and that's on a PS2. You know what I mean? As compared to a Game Boy. You know what I mean? I wouldn't. But I don't want to.
David, I live in this world. You see, I hate to interrupt you. But I guess because it's like, how do I put it? I don't expect Game Freak to ever go as hard as Square Enix.
But it's not Game Freak.
Good point. Who's the third party? Who got in the mix?
It's Ilka.
Do you have any what have they worked on before?
They developed Pokemon Home.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. So let me give my piece, because I want to say I don't disagree with anything you said. You know what I'm saying? Ideally, like David, yeah, Diamond and Pearl should have gotten the 7 remake treatment, or at least the Resident Evil 2 remake treatment, or at least the Chain of Memories treatment. One of these treatments. You're right. Ideally, from a game company,
and you have a separate developer doing it. It's not even your main developer.
I'm with you. I guess where I come from is I've accepted that Game Freak is never going to deliver top of the line anything to me.
Fair.
With that said, and I respect you saying you were expecting at least Sword and Shield graphics. That's very reasonable.
That's bare minimum.
That is so reasonable. But I think this chibi art style looks better than the Sword and Shield art style. Neither one of them is fantastic to me. The Legends art style and Snap trumps all. Neither one of them is ideal. necessarily love either one, but for someone like me, I kind of preferred the top down art style to what we have now. Don't get me wrong, I liked Sun and Moon, I liked Sword and Shield, but I do not like that art style. I don't like that camera angle. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't like any of that. As much fun as I had with those games, I
I
still
get it.
enjoyed those games. But I personally was always big on the top down. I liked the quote unquote chibi art style. And the difference between you and I, and the reason why I could stand in this position is because I never played Gen 4, you know? So me having to play in this top down art style, it doesn't feel like a step backwards or forwards to me. It just feels like what I'm going to be given,
But
right?
see, I don't even to me, if they did like a Let's Go kind of top down kind of thing that looked like that, because
I
that
didn't
is
like that
also,
either, but I didn't like that either. I'll take what they're doing with these Diamond and Pearl
I'd
remakes
prefer
over
that.
that. And
I
that's
would prefer
fair.
that
That's a
way over.
disagreement of opinion, and I can
Yeah.
respect that. And again, neither's ideal. I would want it in the Legends art style. Let's be clear on
Well, of
that.
course.
But there's something about, because again, Sun and Moon and Sword and Shield, as much fun as I may have had, they underwhelmed me to an extent.
Of course.
I guess just seeing something in top down makes me go, oh my God, maybe this will actually give me that nostalgia I'm looking for. Because I'll be honest, Pokemon's one of those series where I go back to it because of nostalgia primarily,
Of
right?
course.
And I guess maybe there's something about this top down art style. I'll get to play Diamond and Pearl the way I was, in a sense, meant to play it. You know, I guess
The other
that's,
things that I'm worried about though is that it is Diamond and Pearl and not Platinum. Because Platinum, the amount of stuff that Platinum added, and they're saying it's more of a faithful one-to-one kind of thing with Diamond and Pearl. I'm nervous. Nervous.
well,
I
what
want to
if
see the distortion world. I want to see, that kind of wintry vibe that they added to it.
that's what they're doing with Legends?
I mean, that's fine, but to me, like, I don't know,
I
because
guess I'm willing to. Here's the thing. I guess I'm willing to give a little bit of a leash, give some slack on the leash, because it's like between Pokemon Snap and Legends, they're going hard and
oh yeah,
they're going for it. And it's like if they were gonna go hard on the Diamond and Pearl remake, it meant we probably weren't gonna get this.
but it's not them. It's not Game
I know,
Freak.
but I feel like that strengthens my point. Because if
See, I
Game
think that
Freak had,
hurts your point.
no, I think if Game Freak had the resources to do it, they would do it. But I think Game Freak is saying, no, we need to centralize our resources onto our main experience. And for these more supplemental games, like is Pokemon Snap developed by Game Freak?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'll double check. I'll
Check
double check
check it
on
up.
that.
Yeah.
But I think the direction they're going in is like, hey, so that we could focus and allocate all of our best resources in house to our mainline experience, maybe it's time to start outsourcing some of these smaller projects like Pokemon Arena and Pokemon Home and Diamond and Pearl. And let's check on
Of
new
course.
Pokemon Snap.
I think that's absolutely correct. But I would also, if you're going to give it to another developer, I would like them to
Oh my
do.
God, Bandai Namco.
Really?
Yeah, yo, this is gonna be sick. This is gonna be sick. And that's what I'm saying. This is so much smarter. This is just smarter to do this.
Oh,
Game
I
Freak,
agree
stick to one
wholeheartedly.
fucking thing. Stick to one thing and knock it out of the park, and then let Bandai Namco make the fucking spin-offs. Yeah, that is cool. I feel like I knew that, but maybe I forgot. I don't know.
I
That's
don't think I even knew that. That's freaking awesome. I'm looking even more forward to that game.
me too.
But
This is gonna
now,
be great.
but now that's another point that you're bringing up. So now you're saying you want all your best guys to be working on this Legends. So
Yes.
now the way we receive Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is going to greatly depend on how much Arceus comes through. If Arceus
You're
doesn't
right.
come through, then would them outsourcing these remakes to someone else have been worth it? Is
Maybe.
that like
I'll say maybe, right? Here's why I'll say maybe. I won't say yes or no, because there's two ways you can kind of take it. Let's say Legends flops and the game just sucks. But then you can go, yeah, but Bandai Namco made the spinoff and they know what the fuck they're doing. And you could say, like, oh, this publisher made it, this developer made it, and they haven't failed Pokemon yet. And I feel, or you could take it the other way of, hey, look, if Game Freak doesn't even have it together, why are we to believe these third parties have it together? So I'll say maybe, because I feel like it could go either way.
I wasn't talking more about Snap. I was talking more about just the Diamond and Pearl remakes.
Gotcha.
Because how you were saying, maybe they're doing some of the platinum stuff in Arceus, or maybe if they don't
Now I got you.
if they don't deliver with stuff that they might have left out in the
Oh,
Sinnoh
David,
remakes.
I'm getting it now. I'm getting what you're saying. So here's the thing, right? If Arceus or Arceus slaps and it gives us everything we ever wanted, then it's like, yeah, then this Diamond and Pearl remake, I'll swing through it.
Exactly. It's only coming out a few months before this. It'll hold me over.
Exactly, right? Whereas opposed to Arceus or Arceus sucks, and you're like, this sucks, and now we got this half-assed remake over here.
Exactly.
That's a good point. Because yeah, if I find myself not enjoying Arceus, the Diamond and Pearl remake might be underwhelming. But
Right.
if Arceus is everything I've ever wanted from a Pokemon game, then suddenly Diamond and Pearl, there's less pressure on it, right?
Exactly.
Woo. But listen, we are running up on time here. I wanted to give you a last piece. A last piece, because I don't know when does, I know Pokemon Snap comes out at the end of the month, but when do what comes out?
After that would be
what's after
the Diamond and Pearl remakes they said late 2021.
The winter, huh?
Winter, yeah. So
all right, so
I would say November.
Let's have you back on to talk Pokemon Snap. Okay. But give me your final thoughts. Is the beginning of Pokemon's comeback? All things considered.
All things considered, I think so. Honestly, the fact that they're doing different things, and this is some of what we talked about in that other podcast that you referenced in the beginning. They're doing what we asked for. Mm-hmm. With Arceus, with I guess Snap first. They're doing spin-off games. They're doing not just the mobile Pokemon Masters or Pokemon. I get those mobile phone games. For if you like those, go ahead. And they keep updating Pokemon Go. Go ahead, fine. They're doing that. They got the Pokemon Snap. They're doing the remake. They're doing a whole new thing. And this whole new thing looks to be like when it first aired, the direct, you and I, we talked about it, and we were like, they're doing kind of Breath of the Wild with Pokemon, and that's exactly what we were looking for. So if they do the right things to nail Arceus, if they fix those frame rates where Chingling is like, or like fix it so that the world feels more lived in, or if they make it so that is like a shining beacon to where the Pokemon franchise will go, then yes. But it's like I said before, it very much hinges on the game that's right behind you.
I think it all hinges on Pokemon Legends. I think the future of the franchise hinges on Pokemon Legends. I think whether or not, because don't get me wrong, I really, really love Pokemon. I really do. But I've skipped generations before, and if things don't change, I'll probably end up skipping generations again. Yeah. But Legends is something that might make me go, nah, I'm in. Right. I'm down. So this is it, man. I think what we're going through right now is going to be the fork in the road. Is Pokemon just going to be, with it being the wealthiest franchise in freaking existence.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be cookie cutter commercialized fun, or are they going to push the forefront of the tech that they have at their disposal? And I think that's what I think Legends is going to answer that question for us.
Mm-hmm. And that's it.
And that's it. We'll wrap it up there. David, thank you so much for coming on, dude.
Thank you for
Um,
having me. It's always a
well,
pleasure.
Absolutely. Listen, you didn't do a plug in the beginning. So I want
Oh,
to give you a little plug now. I don't know if you have any news. Obviously, live music has been one of the things put on hold. But for those who know, those who know or don't know, David is a bassist in the band Brown Sugar and the Blind Albinos. You can find their links in the description. David, are there any murmurs going on your end? Is because I know things are tentatively starting to open up and things are loosening up again a little bit. Let's hope we keep up the momentum, universe willing. But are there any murmurs on your end?
murmurs. We're in the process of starting to find shows to book, and there's a lot of new music that's festering under the surface. We have a lot of other new material that's just ready to be shown to the world. And I cannot wait for everyone to hear it.
Well, dude, whenever it's ready, when you got something to come on, we got to get, you got to bring, no, who you got to bring on with you next is Andrew. You got to get Andrew
Yeah.
back in here. Andrew's been one of the big sages of the lodge for a
Hmm.
long time. And he's one of the greatest fucking guitarists I've ever heard.
Oh, he's
Period.
freaking
Not among my
killer.
peers, not among our local scene. He's seriously one of the best guitarists I've heard ever.
He's
He's
a fucking killer, man.
very talented guy. Very talented guy. But listen, we'll wrap it up here. David, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me,
Sages, thank
brother.
you very much for your support. And everybody who listens or watches and tunes in, whenever, how often, be it weekly, nightly, monthly, bi quarterly, I don't know, whatever. Thanks for being here. Take care, everybody.